All right, Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Racha, Radash. Double honors and salutations to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much respect to you brothers out on the highways and byways pushing this truth with fear and sincerity. And Shalom to the hopeful elect, Shabbat Chalak Har, coming back at you with another video. And as you can see right here, the all-seeing eye, the pyramid, what at the bottom, Novus, ordo, Seclorum, new order of the age. You know what these elites, the wicked elite, the Illuminati, the illuminated ones, the light bearers, are on the forefront of accomplishing. You know, they're moving towards it. I wouldn't say accomplishing, but they're moving towards it. You know, the Most High, Yahweh, Yahweh Shah, is allowing this devil to move out with his plans. You know, and as we see, we're going to get a couple of videos of these protesters that's erupting across the globe. You know, these people don't understand that they're fulfilling biblical prophecy. You know, with upwards of the people, you know, how they coming into the streets. They protesting mass deportation and immigration, illegal immigration and whatnot. And the elites see this. You know, they orchestrated this pretty much before Trump got in office. And when I say before Trump got in office, I mean like the governments at that time were more leaning towards opening up the borders. You know, from 2020, especially with the scamdemic. You know, the cornflakes 19. You know, it opened up. First and foremost, it put the world on lockdown. You know, made you take a hokey pokey. And then as the lockdowns lifted, the borders became open, bringing more and more people into these countries. You know, letting the gates flood. It's like you know, letting people come in left and right, no matter who you are. Letting sleeper cells in the countries, letting just an influx of people. Not only that, these other countries, they already see that their country was moving with the NWO. You know, now that people are becoming hip to it, they're starting to protest more. They're starting to rise up against the government, not knowing that this is part of prophecy. Let's get this real quick.
I want to do a quick update about a document that got passed by the United Nations this weekend called the Pact of the Future document. It's two parts, one on science and technology and one about the youth and future generations. It is quite egregious, and it was done by a procedure called the silence procedure, which makes it a pact. And if no one objected, it is automatically adopted and put into the record as being completely adopted. This is the World Health Organization's runaround, or end around. Since they were not able to get the World Health Organization treaty passed, they decided to take it to the General Assembly. And it is even more egregious than what the World Health Organization was wanting to get passed. Let me just read you something really quickly about what is inside of this pact that is now being accepted by 193 nations around the world and equally open-armed accepted by our current administration. Everyone, it says that this is the power structure, fully digital and maximized for the control of the masses. Everyone will be expected to have a biometric digital ID that marks them not just as citizens of an individual country, but as a global citizen. So anytime you hear global citizen or anytime you hear sustainability, think that this is an egregious thing that's happening at the level of the World Health Organization and the United Nations. Anyone that...
And this is plans for the New World Order. A global citizen, one world government, one world government, one religion, one currency, digital ID, which we all know what this leads to, what the MOTB, the mark of the beast, because you still have, black swan events that needs to happen. You still have, all out anarchy and war. As a matter of fact, I had this pulled up already. Second Edges 15, and starting at 14 in the GNT, it says the world and the people in it are doomed. Yeah, the people, if you don't have Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, you're pretty much doomed. You're doomed. Verse 15 says, the war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations, which we see more and more war happening on the forefront. We see what? Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Iran, rumors with China and Taiwan, NATO. Trump is telling NATO to shoot down Russian warplanes. You see the war in Gaza. United States and the Israelis going against the Hamas, ISIS and whatnot. The Arab nations pretty much. Israel bombing Qatar. Like, these are rumors, these are noises. A lot of noises going on before this all-out war pretty much take place. And all they're waiting on is that mandatory implantation of the MOTB, because they have that mandatory implantation. You got to know that all war is going to break loose. We got an eye on everything and everybody, or sitting close to having that eye. Man, it's going to get bad out here. You Akim and you Aqua. It's going to get bad out here. If you can't see that, man, you're going to need an angelic force to help you with this. Verse 16, it says, here's the point. It says, there will be great political turmoil, with one group trying to overpower another and gain control, while ignoring that legitimate government. So in verse 17 says, there will be no longer free access to the cities. So one group trying to gain control of another group. Yeah, the governments of the world is trying to gain access to the people, or gain control over the people, total control.
Opinion will be labeled as misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, and memory hold. Perpetrators for
Misinformation, malinformation, this is coming down the pipes of the small hats, right? They're owning up the social media, Meta, Instagram, Snapchat, X, Twitter, or TikTok. Everything that everybody be on. This is part of their plan, the wicked elite's plan, and it's coming to the forefront, and it can't be hidden. And everybody, and their mama got a voice about it. They say they ain't gonna resist and whatnot, but when Esau put that squeeze, when he put that tight squeeze on you, you're gonna have two options: comply or die, or get ostracized out of society. And, you figure it out on your own in a world that's moving. People got in their minds that they're gonna go to their bunkers, they're gonna go to these retreats, these places where people barter and trade and whatnot. Yeah, they will be out there. There's no doubt they'll be out there. But Esau Edom has the whole planet, has it on lock. And he will find you. And he will bring you to the forefront. And if you don't have Yahweh Hashem Yahushua to guide you, to pretty much keep you safe, because at the end of the day, miracles going to have to happen. Remember, the scripture said the enemy should come in like a flood, and the Lord is going to lift up a standard. So that means if the enemy is coming like a flood, hold on, let's look up that word, flood. Flood. It says, Isaiah 59:19, it says, so shall they fear the name of the Lord, Yahweh, from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord, Yahweh, shall lift up a standard against them. So that flood, right? Word is Nahar. It says a stream, a river, streams, prosperity, figurative, a flood. Let's go to the root. Flow, stream, light, burn. Be radiant, to beam. So he's coming with burning. Let's read it down here. Be a light to flow. So he's coming quick, fast. Remember, the devil he has a short time, so he's going to come down with great wrath, burning fire, fury, madness, sparing none, right? And going back to that second Esdras, this goes in the KJV, it goes into sedition. There should be sedition among men, not regarding their kings or priests. Here, let's get it in there. Because Esau Edom, he got this thing. He knows what he's doing. He's been planning this. This is nothing new. Verse 16, 2 Esdras 15-16. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So you send a lot of that. We'll get to a couple videos. Let's finish this up.
Approved information will be fact-checked and punished by the system, which will be operated and enforced by artificial intelligence. Punishments will include being locked out of one's bank account, being unable to make certain purchases, unable to get on an airplane, on a subway, drive on public roads. This is the future, according to the world's self-appointed overlords at the United Nations. These are unelected bureaucrats that are making decisions about our country, our sovereignty around the world. Nothing could be more important at this point in time than to get prepared. Have water, food, digital access, flashlights, a way to communicate with family and friends. Now is really the
Yeah, she's talking about flashlights and shit. And water. Ain't nothing wrong with getting a flashlight and some water and some, way of communication. But that is not going to deliver you from the sad perils that's coming upon the earth. As a matter of fact, the Lord left us tokens, right? 2 Esdras 6:20. And when the world that shall begin to vanish away, which this world is vanishing away, is passing away, all the things thereof, all the daintiness and the they're trying to move into a new age. That's why I started this video with Novus, Seclorum, new order of the age. This is the NWO, new world order. Says shall be finished, and then I will show these tokens. Which tokens? The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together. So the books are being opened. The prophecies are being broken down the rightful way. Like Apostle Tohar says we know more than the ancient prophets, because we have all it right here. And best believe, some of us men, Abaratazar, are those prophets coming back in their lot. Do you know who you are? No, of course not. The Lord ain't give you that, because you got Jake's out here say they this person, they that person, you know. But, you know, through faith, through belief, we understand that reincarnation is in the Bible, and those same men that wrote these scribes are back today. You know, some of them are back in the spiritual realms, and some of them are here on today amongst us, breaking down these scriptures. But the book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall all see together. But these tokens, what are the tokens? Uproars of the people, earthquakes. Here we go. Homes shake, families huddle in Philippines earthquake. There was a 6.9 earthquake in the Philippines.
Everyone looking at. In just a few seconds, you'll see them jump into action. This footage captured the panic as a powerful earthquake struck the Philippines. Families rushed into the street as the ground trembled beneath them and huddled together while buildings shook.
Even though Hurricanes Imelda and Umberto never came close to hitting North Carolina's coast,
but nevertheless, Salakia. But you saw it. It was here. Triple disaster, deadly 6.9 earthquake, volcano eruption, and new typhoon Palo set to batter the Philippines. Philippines is reeling in a 6.9 earthquake that killed 72 in an eruption. Now tropical storm is set to hit. So yeah, diverse places. You know, many different places. There's going to be the fuck is wrong with her toe? There's going to be many earthquakes and whatnot. So you know something. You know, as the scripture says, and we see the uproars of the people because they're over this.
Time to get involved and get prepared because this is what's coming. Our Congress is sitting on its hands. There was a press conference on the 17th about this, and no further action has been taken. So it's up to us to mobilize and to go forward, particularly with your local sheriffs, to get your constitutional sheriffs to say, this isn't going to be allowed in my county. Thank you very much.
This isn't going to be allowed in my county. Shut the fuck up. New World Order. No human rights, no free speech, no privacy, travel restrictions, digital IDs, the end of cash, social credit scores, end of sovereignty, and open borders. Food shortages, smart cities relocating humans to cities, civilizations, centralizations, medical mandates, destruction of national identity and pride, depopulation to 500 million, one world government, one world religion, one world digital currency, no private ownership, firearms prohibited, AI surveillance state, Noah had laws. Is Christianity outlawed in the mark of the beast. This is what's coming. This digital ID, you already know about the digital ID. More war. I don't know what's wrong with this sound.
Israel has officially launched a direct strike.
But yeah, this was yesterday.
And the world
is meant to bring it out.
Look hard what's happening today. Don't rely on your legacy media because they won't tell you. They are part of the problem. They withhold the truth. They hide the scale of what is happening across the world. Ireland, Germany, France, Poland, Britain, Spain, Austria, Australia, and now even Japan in Osaka. Thousands marched through the streets demanding an end to mass immigration. This is no longer a ripple. This is a wave. The world is waking up. Western nations are demanding mass deportations. Native populations are rising. Nationalism is surging across borders, and the globalists are losing their control. Do you see a pattern yet? This is how you dismantle a civilization. Not with bombs, not with armies, but with something much simpler. Open the gates, erase the borders, invite the world in, give them food, housing, and money that your own citizens don't have. And then make resistance illegal. Call anyone who speaks out a racist, a bigot, a Nazi. That is how you silence a nation. That is how you erase sovereignty. This is the globalist blueprint. Dissolve the identity of nations, outnumber their citizens, and replace their governments with a single world order. They don't need tanks when they...
Looking at this, it's like we're living in a sci-fi movie or some type of dystopia movie from the beginning. From the it's just like the movies. They put the movies in front of your face and then they show you in reality, this is coming. And what comes with people that's against this, and America is so, behind the times. People should be protesting this more and more, like if they knew what was coming, but it's part of prophecy. But you got jakes out there that's just their heads in the clouds, man, and they don't see this thing coming. This is Ezekiel 12 in verse 24. It says, "For there shall be no more any vain visions or flattering divinations within the house of Israel. For I am the Lord Yahweh. I will speak the word that I shall speak shall come to pass. It shall be no more prolonged. For in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word and will perform it, saith the Lord power. Again the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say the vision that he seeth is for many days to come, and he prophesied of the times that are far off. Therefore saith to them, thus saith the Lord power, there shall be none of my words be prolonged any more, but the word which I have spoken shall be done, saith the Lord power." So what's going on, what shall be spoken, what the Lord, his words that he put in the prophet's mouth, they're not going to come out void. Prophets been speaking on it, starting with our apostles and our elders of Great Millstone. You brothers been speaking on it for years, decades, and now it's here in front of our faces, and it's only going to get worse from here before it gets better. Through much tribulation must we go through to enter into the kingdom of heaven. So you're going to have to go through it regardless of anything. So it's time to, it literally is man up. Let go of all that weak ass shit, man. Man up. Be a man about this thing. Be a man and know that, look, man, from push to shove, you got to stand on your principles. And what's the principles? You got to stand on that cornerstone. That's Yahweh Shah. It's coming, man. It's coming. There ain't nobody can do nothing to stop it because the Lord ordained it.
Can use demographics. They don't need soldiers when they have policies. The invasion is silent, but it is real. They call it compassion, but listen to their own words. One man in Germany admitted it. We have more children than you. In 10 years, we will outnumber you. We will take over. That is not conspiracy. That is the plan. But now the tide is turning. America saw through it when Donald Trump secured the border in 2 weeks, exposing the lie that mass migration couldn't be stopped. Across Europe, millions are in the streets. The fight for sovereignty is no longer isolated. It is global. This is war, not of bombs, but of demographics. Not of bullets, but of policies. A war to erase you in your own life.
You're going to have more widow people come up like this with the mask on, the V for Vendetta mask with the hoodie. More because the Lord, what the scriptures say. Joel, the 2nd chapter, right? I think it's at 20 something. Yeah, Joel 2:28. It says, and it shall come to pass, that means it shall happen, afterwards, that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall see dreams, and your young men shall see visions and light. Since the Lord is pouring out this spirit, he's pouring out the spirit of prophecy. Because look, these people don't know they're part of prophecy. They've going out into the streets, they're doing all this protesting and whatnot. This is part of prophecy. The elites, trying to push their new world order, that's part of prophecy. The countries, the nations are bucking up against each other, talking about war, that's part of prophecy. These are all part of prophecy. And the men of the Lord prophesying, that is part of prophecy. The Israelites waking up, that is part of prophecy. So the Lord is putting his spirit upon all flesh, all the people. And the NLT says, then after doing all those things, I will pour out my spirit upon all people. Your sons and your daughters will prophesy. Your old man shall see dreams and dream in dreams, and your young man will see visions. So this is what's happening. This is what the Lord is bringing to Esau's kingdom. People are going to continue to rise up against this new world order. But Esau is going to come down with great wrath. He has the power to. The Lord has given him the power. The Lord has given him the power to be Isaiah 10 and verse 5. O Assyrian, the rod of my anger and a staff in their hand is my indignation. So the Lord is gearing it up, man. It's gearing it up. Before you know it, these videos won't be available. The men of the Lord won't be available. The internet won't be available. You'll be shut down. You have to fend for yourself. And if you don't have Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua to cover you, you're a walking casualty. You're a walking corpse. You're the walking dead. So, with that said, hope you're edified. Hope you got something out of this. Hope to see you on the next video. Lord willing, Shalom.